trying to find a job is definitely a full-time job, right? So, and then you have people who are trying to find a job while they're working, while they're juggling families, and being able to compress time with AI is so helpful. Everybody can understand the fear of a blank page, and then they can understand how AI could help them get past that. And like, once you get wins, then you get confidence, right? And then you're like, okay, I'll keep using AI. And then you see how AI can help in your job search. Like if you use it daily, it'll compress time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of How I Use AI. This is a podcast where we learn how real people are getting real results using AI. And we're super honest about it as well. If something doesn't work, if something's a bit disappointing, we'll talk about that too. But the main aim is to get you inspired and learning from people who aren't trying to pitch you AI products. So a very warm welcome to the incredible, I've just been reading her CV or resume, Dr. Cara Elam, who's done some absolutely amazing things. She's a health policy expert. And welcome, Cara. How are you today?
Thanks so much for having me. It's beautiful here. I'm in the US, so it's still bright and early pretty much. And it's just a beautiful day. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, wonderful. Your energy's lovely. I love it. I'm really bouncing back off it. It's late, last thing on a Friday here that we're recording this. So it's really lovely to get your energy at this point in the day. So I'm so glad.
I hope it gives you a boost to get you through the end of the day.
It really is. It really is. Thank you. So tell me about how you're using AI and what sort of things you're finding useful, what sort of things not so useful.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks for the question. So when we first talked about this podcast, we booked it 4 months ago, right? So, and 4 months ago, I was actually still working on my own consulting business as my daughter is almost 4. And when she was born, I was in a very high level of the federal government in health policy. And it was wonderful, but the hours just weren't conducive to the kind of mom that I wanted to be. I wanted more time. I wanted to pick up and drop off, and I wanted to be there for her. So I decided to go into entrepreneurship, start my own consulting business. That way I could do my own hours. And it's been it was a very wonderful and interesting learning journey. I learned so much. But like you, Heather, and I thank you so much for posting, all your stories and just, you're so open about your life experience. And I say that because, my consulting business it wasn't as prosperous financially as I wanted it to be. And then you talked about, how you had a business in the same way. And, and then you made the decision that, okay, I need to pivot. So then I've made the decision I need to pivot. And one of the pivots is that, I want to get back to a team environment. I want to work that intellectual camaraderie and, figuring things out and problem solving as a team. I really want to get back to that. So I've been on the job market since probably around August. So, and it is a challenging job market. So I am so thankful for AI because it has been so helpful because, right now it's not just me using AI, it's HR using AI, right? Because they get so many applicants, 5,000 applicants, one position. So they have to screen it. And AI is so useful for them to screen it, right? But that means that us as the applicants, we need to utilize AI so that we can get past their first initial AI HR screening tools. So that's what I am doing. I am, helping, I guess I'm training, the AI that I'm using. I'm just using ChatGPT, but, to figure out the keywords that'll help me get through that first tier, right? That, we have to, that funnel, we have to get through before an actual person will see my application. And I haven't gotten an interview yet. So I've had some great informational interviews. So I know that it's a numbers game. And I know AI is helping me on that journey. And like you said, I do have a great CV. I do have a lot of really awesome experience, especially in the health policy space, federal and healthcare space, and the executive level, the C-suite level in healthcare. But right now, it's just a very challenging job market. So I'm not going to say that AI isn't working because I haven't gotten an interview. But I know that AI is bringing me much closer to getting that interview just because of the way it utilizing the keyword algorithm and understanding HR in a way that, my brain alone wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
That's a lot in one spotlight.
There is so many topics. I think, like you were saying, I work with a lot of HR departments in the public sector here in the UK, and they're saying they're getting a lot of applications in that look identical. So they're not against people using AI, but they're finding that they're like, hey, we've got this same application in, it's the same approach every single time. So they've fed the job description in, they've got this application. And so it's kind of going direct to a person in that case, but they're like, we can't see any personality. We can't see anything there. So how would you get around that type of thing? So I feel like a lot of people will be using it as a bit of a cheat, and they'll think, oh, I can apply to 100 jobs. How do you think we should get around that type of problem?
Oh, well, that would be great if AI was ready to work that way. But I think that we could both agree, like, AI is not ready for that yet. I still take, each position and ask AI to tailor it specifically to that position. And then I have a bot that is trained to speak in my like me and like the warmth in my voice. So, and a friend of mine, Daniel Liverpool, who's a great marketer, I will, if you want to link to him, I love him.
Yes,
he's wonderful.
we'll put it underneath.
He created the bot for me, and it's been very helpful because AI will, give me the initial, right, and then I'll just copy and paste it into that bot and be like, okay, does this sound like me? And of course, one thing about AI is it's a writing assistant, right? It can't write it for you. I love AI because I've always believed that the blank page is so scary, right? But with AI, you don't have a blank page anymore. You have a starting point, right? But it's your responsibility to take that starting point and make sure that it does sound like you. Make sure that, it's not going to be like, it doesn't sound like it's written by AI. It just, there aren't any hyphens and, there aren't any giveaways that say, I just had AI do this and now I've copied and pasted it and put it in the email, right? So you really have to read through it. And I'm not always perfect at this because sometimes I'm rushing, right? I'm trying to get four applications out in one day, and then I have to go pick up my daughter or get to pick up my daughter, I'd rather say. So maybe I'm rushing and I might miss that AI put the link here. And I might have sent the email with the put the link in there instead of actually putting the link in there. So I've messed up that way. I'm not perfect at it. But I do, most often I do catch that because I am taking a moment. I'm a researcher by training. So I'm taking a moment to be very thorough and very detail oriented to make sure that it does sound like me. There aren't any hyphens and it doesn't, how shall we say, grammar, because AI is not reading it like we're reading it. And sometimes if you read it out loud and AI has written it, it doesn't sound good, when you read it out loud. So, because AI, they're not human, AI isn't human, right? So it doesn't have our human ear or, how humans process, right? As much as we would love AI to get to the level where it can process like a human, it still processes like a computer, I think. I mean, you could you're the expert. So, I want to make sure that it sounds like a human wrote it. So, catching things like that. And, yes, it would be wonderful if we could just put the information in and get out 100 different, applications done like that, right? It would make the job search so much easier, but we're not there yet. So you really still have to individualize each listing and, tailor your resume, tailor your CV, tailor your cover letter to that position and to the person, right? Because AI is going to do the research for you, but it's so much better for you to actually go on LinkedIn and look up who's the vice president, who's the CEO, who's the recruiter, and learn something about them so you can tailor it to them, or maybe reach out to them and ask for an informational interview, which is so much better because then that does actually make you stand out more than that, CV that looks like everybody else, right?
That's such a great tip as well. And a very human tip as well. It's about knowing when to use AI and when not to. I think another way that I've heard people using it is when, like you say, it's a numbers game, isn't it? It is hard. It is really hard out there to find a job. And so you have to be kind of processing lots of information as with your human brain to go through, is this job right for me? And you might end up, if you're speeding through, I have friends looking for jobs and they just say, I applied for 10 today. And I think how many of those is actually right for you? Are you going to end up in a situation where you're just taking anything because you you just need something coming in? And so I feel like you could almost interrogate, feed in the job descriptions and say, right, this is me, this is what I'm looking for, which one here suits me and why? And then that information could be fed for a perfectly human written application, but you've got that AI has kind of helped you decide which ones are best to apply for, given your skills and what kind of life you're hoping to have as well. Like you say, being able to pick up your daughter and that type of thing. So those flexible hours and things are so important. I think AI is really good at picking out those things from multiple applications too. So it's kind of both ways.
I do too. And, I follow you. Oh, your prompts are great. So I love the prompts that you give. And I think you gave a prompt about, because I think you were talking about like one of your friends who's job searching. And I think you gave a prompt of like, ask AI, is this position, does knowing what you know about me, would this position make me happy? Or is it something, it was a prompt like that. So, and I use that. So, that's so helpful. And because it does, it comes back and it makes you, because, AI is processing so much faster than we are. And, still there's need for our own human processing, but it'll come up and like think of things that you didn't even think about. Like with this role, like it might pick up, okay, the mission statement of this company really aligns with how you talk or, how you write and something like that. So then you're like, oh yeah, okay, I really want to apply for this company. And then, AI will also be very truthful because, it doesn't have the human need to lie, right? So it'll be like, your experience does not fit this position. You will not probably get picked. It's very blunt.
I think you'd have to almost say, because it wants to tell you something nice every time, doesn't it? It's kind of like, yeah, you could do if you did this. I would say like, tell me if I am not suitable for this, or like you almost need to quantify it, I think. So if you think I am 40% or less suitable for this job, then tell me overtly. I think that's how I'd put it into a prompt, and then you'd end up getting a good response back. But yeah, there's so many ways I think that you can, like you're saying with leaving in the link, you could do everything the normal human way, that way. Find the job, fill in the application, you're getting ready, and it could just be a final edit. So a proofread, check that I haven't left anything in here that doesn't make sense. I feel like, because I'm a bit of a creative person, not very good at details. So if for me, it's that kind of last bit of, oh, you left things in like links and stuff like that. I do that all the time. So I find AI is really useful for that.
Definitely. Because, and then by the time you're ready to send it, right, you've worked with it for so long, you're like, so it's hard for your brain to actually pick up on that detail, because your brain is like, it's ready to close its chapter on this one and like get that dopamine hit that you finished.
Yeah, exactly. And what sort of tools are you using at the moment? What are your favorite tools?
Oh, okay. Well, I just use ChatGPT really, and the bots, like the one that like speaks for me. And then let's see, there's another marketer that I love. I love following marketers. I learned so much from marketers during my entrepreneurial journey. It was a great, like I could have like a PhD in marketing, but learned a lot. And there's another marketer, Petra Ad, and it's like Ad Adventures with Petra. So it's like Ad, AD, and then Ventures. It's cute how she did it. But she created a bot, and it had Jay Abrams, the marketer Jay Abrams, like the business guru. It's based on him. And so a lot of times, if I'm definitely, reaching out like cold emails on LinkedIn to the vice presidents or the executives, I'll make sure like I'll run it through there and be like, okay, does this have enough executive presence? Yeah. And also executives, just like policymakers, right? They have 1 minute, right, to look at something. So, I want to make sure, will this, in like the 30 seconds that this executive might give me if they open the email, will this, pique their interest, right? Because sometimes you'll ask ChatGPT, the regular ChatGPT, not a specific bot that has Jay Abrams like infused in it, write me an executive, like a cold email to an executive, and it'll have like 4 paragraphs. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's like, no, we can't do that. So then I'll take the gist of that and copy it into this other bot. And it's like AGI business magic or something like that. She calls it. And I'll be like, okay, this is for an executive. Let's distill it down. So it's just those points that will pique their interest in, hopefully they'll be like, okay, yes, have an informational interview.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, some really, really good tips in there as well. And it isn't about having loads of tools. All the people I know that are really enjoying using AI generally will have one that they really like. So on a day-to-day basis, I probably use 2 tools, and it'll be my chatbot, which goes between ChatGPT and Claude, and then my AI note taker. They're the tools that I use. I think there's perhaps what the thing we're recording on right now, Riverside, has some AI involved in the transcripts and things afterwards. So there's like these little features that are quite useful, but it's not about having, I think that on LinkedIn, that sort of AI bubble, it makes you feel like everybody is super AI experts and there's so much going on and everybody's like 80% AI augmented workflows. And then not at all. Everybody's just kind of figuring it out. I think even people who've worked in it for a really long time, I'm still figuring it out every single day, like what works, what can save me time. And it's one of those things, isn't it? I think you just got to find something that you go, oh, okay, that saved me a little bit of time, haven't you?
Yeah, and to be honest, I do get a little overwhelmed when it's like, oh, there's this new AI that you should use, or like every day it's like a different AI you should use, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just happy. I feel a little old school, but I'm just happy with ChatGPT for right now.
Yeah, and I love the way you called it old school. Like to so many people, I spoke to a room of CEOs and that I asked them to put their hand up who'd actually used ChatGPT. There's only a couple of them. Some people haven't even heard of ChatGPT yet. So it's not old school to the majority. Yeah,
oh, okay. You know, that's so funny because you think like everybody's using it. Yeah. Or when you like run in circles where everybody's using AI, you forget that like that some people are. So that's thanks for that reminder.
People aren't. Yeah, loads. Every single day, every single time I do a keynote or something, I'm staggered by how many people are like, no, I haven't used it yet. Or maybe I used it once to kind of get a joke or change an email. And then I thought, oh, it's not for me and carried on. You're like, wow, you have no idea how powerful this is. And I think, it's exciting, but I think it's quite scary as well, isn't it, for people too?
It's so new, right? And then, in the press, the people who want to try it, they might hear, things that, AI will steal your identity or things like that. So they get a little concerned, right? When, I think, if you listen to certain press, right, versus some, you might feel a little anxiety to try AI if you haven't.
Absolutely. Yeah. The tabloids love that AI is going to steal your job. AI is going to scam you. And of course, it is really important to be aware of those things, but they're so skewed. It's so skewed right now. I think there's so much good stuff to be had as well. So just to wind up, and these go so fast, these sessions, I think every single time.
Wow, we're already that went very fast.
So say if there's somebody listening to this and they are looking for a job, they've never used AI before, what would you recommend to them? How would they get started? What would be the first couple of steps they need to do?
Oh, I would like what I said earlier, because I think it's, when somebody hasn't used AI, if they can all relate to that feeling of like a blank page and trying to come up with the right words to say, like for an email to maybe a cold email, right? For a lot of people, cold emails are just as scary as like cold public speaking, right? Or, or networking in person, right? They don't know this person. So, they get a bit of anxiety. So I let them know that, you can use AI so the page isn't blank. So you have a starting place, which is so helpful, and even if you don't use most of what AI put there, right? It just is like, it gives you a place to like begin, right? Versus the blank page feeling like you have to do it all on your own. So I think for a lot of people, seeing AI in that aspect of like, oh, this could really help me to, get creative, right? Because it's hard to get your creative juices flowing if you see a blank page, because the blank page is scary, right? So then it turns off, then your cortisol is up versus like your good feelings, right? But if you had something on the page to start from, and then you had a moment like a win, like you read the first sentence and you're like, oh, I don't really like the way that sounds, but I think if I add this, it'll sound great. Then that gives your brain a bit of dopamine, and that's like a hit to like keep you going. Versus the blank page gets your anxiety going and not your creative juices going. So I think everybody can understand the fear of a blank page, and then they can understand how AI could help them get past that. And then once you get those wins, right, with anything, like once you get wins, then you get competence, right? And then you get confidence, and then you're like, okay, I'll keep using AI. And then you see how AI can help in your job search. Like if you use it daily, it'll just, it'll compress time, which is so helpful, because trying to find a job is definitely a full-time job, right? So, and then you have people who are trying to find a job while they're working, while they're juggling families. And so, being able to compress time with AI is so helpful.
This is wonderful. This is really, really wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with your job hunt. I'm sure some very, very lucky person will snap you up very, very soon. And thank you so much again. We will hopefully speak to you soon, Dr. Cara. Thank you.